To that end, you've served on a number of boards, a few I've just mentioned in the introduction, and we're talking about the engagement of the board. I hear quite a bit of debate, and it's probably mostly because it's early days and no one size fits all, but there's discussion about where should cyber risk oversight be managed at the board level. Do you have any views about that?
So, yeah, I have a lot of views about that.
I'm sure.
So, look, I'm so if you go back to the beginning conversation that you and I had,
Yeah.
how did it start? It started because we digitize everything, and we're digitizing everything every minute of every day. That's what the CIO's job is. So I actually believe that the CISOs, the person responsible for cybersecurity, Chief Information Security Officer, needs to be very closely aligned with the Chief Information Officer.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they report to each other or they have some multiple reporting relationships, segmenting them, splitting them apart is a bad idea. Putting them in two different worlds is a very bad idea. And we've had a lot of debates about this. So, that doesn't mean that the CISO isn't accessible to the board separately and distinctly, just as the CIO is separately and distinctly, or the CFO. But in the end, it's the CEO that you do your work with. It's the CEO you hold accountable. You make it clear to the CEO what you're looking for. You have a dialogue with the CEO. And then if the CEO is a good CEO, you'll know immediately. They'll say, yes, we should have the CIO in. We should have the CISOs in. We should have, the CFO in, or the head of audit in. So you want to have that accessibility. And you as a director want to use that little interaction maybe as a judgment point that says, why is the CEO not letting us see more? Why is the CEO not allowing us to interface with the CIO or the CISO?
Yeah.
So I don't believe these people need to report to the board. I don't think the board needs another committee to do this. I think there are plenty of committees where you could do all this work.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it in audit. You could do it in risk. If you have a technology committee, you could do it in technology. So there's plenty of, and then at some point in time, maybe 2-3 times a year, there should be a meeting of the board as a whole. The board at large should see what's going on. They should review the entire plan as opposed to just relying on the committee, to report out. So I do think that keeping them close together. Remember, the CIO is creating this problem every day because they're writing software, they're deploying software, they're creating data, they're curating data, they're buying data. That's the job of the CIO.
Mm-hmm.
The CIO has got to step up and start to do these things correct by construction. And, the CISO needs to be in close proximity to do that. And good CIOs know exactly what I'm talking about. And by interfacing with them, interacting with them, I'm fine with the CISO having a path out. The CISO can have an override function. Maybe the CISO reports to, on certain things can report out directly to the CEO or to the CFO. I'm fine with that. Or to the audit committee chair. I'm fine with that. But look, we're not there day in and day out, Pam. That's not our job.
Right.
These people are.
Yeah.
And, they need to be integrated. They need to get it right. They, for the most part, want to do all of this, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody is trying to build a bad thing. Nobody is trying to do a bad thing. I mean, there are some bad actors inside companies. You got to find them out. But you should know like that. If that bad actor is your CIO or your CISO or your CFO or your auditor or your CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say you're joining a new board and you discover that this board is just now beginning their journey in cyber preparedness. What would be a few key pieces of advice that you would give them?
So yeah, that's very good. You might want to think about that NACD course that I took. You could start with that. It's a pretty good primer. It does, it's very extensive. It's expansive. So, you get a large view of everything. But you start with, bring the reasoning together in front of you. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? How are we connecting everything? Why are we digitizing everything? Ask those primitive questions. And then you ask the CEO to tell you, whether it's through the CIO or the CISO, explain to me how we're protecting all of these things. Explain to me what it means to protect them, and how often do you fix things that are broken? What about, I hear about all these patches. What is your patching strategy?
Mm-hmm.
You publish on the web. It's a failure. It's a hole. You say, okay, in case you didn't see this, it's over here, by the way. It's
Right.
this piece of software right here. Just enter through here and go in there. So that's what goes on.
Right.
It's like, okay, we're going to give you the key. Now, can you find the house that it belongs to? I mean, that's kind of what they're talking about. So you got to take all that seriously, and you've got to then say, okay, I'm going to shut it down before they figure out that key works on this door.
Right.
And that's your job. And if you don't do that, Pam, and if you don't take that seriously enough, you end up just like Equifax and many others. Many others have done exactly the same thing, right?
Right.
This WannaCry that we experienced, 6 months ago? Well-known failures, well-known issues, well-known patches. The answers were all available.
Right.
Shame on you for not downloading it. Shame on you for not patching it. When you get those little signals and you're pushing them off, all you're doing, Pam, is you're telling them the house is here. Open this door. Put your key in here. Come on in. You are actually complicit. I mean, that's the way you should be thinking about this, Pam. You are complicit.
Yes, non-compliant and complicit.
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then I think you, as a board member, you start asking questions about how do we certify our software?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know? I'm not making this definitive statement, but I'm pretty sure this is about right. Most of the issues are software. Rarely are they hardware.
Mm-hmm.
There are some hardware issues, but they are actually easier to fix. Software is this vast manifestation of the thinking of your unique thinking, my unique thinking. I mean, that's what we're kind of embodying in software.
Yeah.
And Pam, sadly, no one's responsible for it. The software you buy has no liability associated with it. None.
Mm-hmm.
Because you give it up when you sign and agree. You want that app? Get your little grubby hands on it. You say, I agree. You take all of its faults and failures.
Yeah.
And whether you pay for it or not, you inherit all its faults and failures. And so you have to start with the basic understanding, Pam, that software is flawed. There are failures in it. I mean, that's why if you build it yourself, you have to build it better. You have to use and ask your team, what techniques are you using? How are you guaranteeing and assuring, the resilience of this software?
Right.
That's why new technologies like blockchain are so promising,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're more distributed.
Right.
Nobody has the whole piece.
Right.
They're protected as they go. So, you as a director have to start asking these kinds of questions. I'm not saying I can write blockchain code. I can't. I stopped doing useful work, 50 years ago, so I'm not confused. But that doesn't mean that you as a director shouldn't know. You should be able to ask these questions. You should be able to dialogue on these topics. So, you start with that primitive conversation. There's a lot of self-help out there, but, you stick to your instincts. Why are we doing this? How do we protect it? And when they start balking, that usually means that you're hitting a nerve ending and it's not quite as clean as they told you it was. And then you'll read as a director, you're expected to keep your knowledge up. You'll learn more. And then you have every right when you see something else to say, hey, what about us? Remember that Home Depot thing? Is that going to happen to us?
Yeah.
Remember that eBay thing? Is that going to happen to us? Ask those simple questions, Pam.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. And then, like I said in the beginning, half jokingly, if you have time and if you can afford it, take a cyber course. The online course I took at CMU through NACD, I recommend it. It's a little longer than I would have liked, but it'll get better over time.
Excellent.